Hugh Laurie, already a star in the UK, became a big star here because of the popularity of the show in which he stars here called House, playing a doctor unseen in the history of television, a doctor of this type. And now he's one of the many voices in Monsters vs. Aliens, the new animated 3D feature. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Now, you're unique in that you're one of the few British actors who can talk American, so to speak. Is that a burden, especially when it's animated, but is that a burden when you're acting and that you have to live with all the time?
I find it so, but then I'm also one of nature's complainers, so I complain about my job every day. Actually, in one of the delights of doing Monsters vs. Aliens is I get to play a British character,
yes.
so I could throw off the that heavy burden.
See, Olivier couldn't do it. Neither can Michael Caine. Thinks he can by talking Texas, or you know.
I would not presume to comment on those two titans of the cinema.
Olivier couldn't do it. I have no son, as he said in The Jazz Singer.
Right.
Now you've been doing House for what, like 6 years now?
We're coming to the end of our We're coming to the end of our 5th season.
How much longer do you think you're going to do it?
Another 30, I think, is what I'm aiming for. Another 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you're that content with this.
I don't know. It's hard to say. We've just not recently finished our 100th show, which is a huge landmark, particularly now because fewer and fewer shows are actually making that sort of...
But how many times can you fly over the North Pole and get to England to visit your family, which you were doing a lot?
Yes, I am very airline dependent. If the airlines go under, then the show goes under. It's all connected.
Now, 5, 6 years into the show, are you allowed to ad-lib, whereas when you were starting out, it's word for word on the script?
Well, I get both, actually. We go word for word, and then I am allowed my free shy. Once we've got the script,
shy? Is that
like a throw.
Oh, my co-host Allison Bales on Real Talks uses a couple of these expressions.
Right. No, you don't have that.
She's from Ascot. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
In other words, you're allowed your own take.
Well, I could have just made that up, though. Yes, I'm allowed my own take, and I'm allowed to every now and then. But the scripts are so beautifully written. I wouldn't presume to embellish.
On the other hand, you have to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And you go to work and you've forgotten last week's dialogue full of medical mumbo jumbo, and you got to learn
I've forgotten the dialogue from 5 minutes ago.
But it's fresh. But okay, I didn't ask you this question before in case you forgot.
Okay.
But how do you keep it fresh?
I constantly frighten myself. I never relax. I'm just not one of those people. I'm not a relaxed person. I'm always worrying. It's just the way I'm put together.
Your father was an Olympic rower.
He was.
Never lost, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And you took up the sport. I mean, that's an impossible act to follow.
Following in my father's footsteps, yes. Yes, and falling short because he was an Olympic gold medalist, and I pursued it as far as I could until I got mono. That's how I fell into acting.
Those were the 48 games in London, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Now, you had a teacher at Eton who revered Clint Eastwood.
That's correct.
Right? And he said that all TV heroes try to emulate Dirty Harry, the lone righteous man. That was when you were on the cover of Life magazine. Not bad, all right?
Right.
So is that kind of the attitude you take on House? You're like this lone wolf character. I've never seen a doctor portrayed that way.
I personally, in my rather pathetic inner fantasy life, I do see similarities between House and, yes, the man with no name. Yeah. I do see him as the he's there. And in fact, when there was a point at which House's father was going to appear on the show. In fact, he did make an appearance a few seasons ago, and they said, "Who do you think should play your father?" And I just right away I said, "Clint Eastwood." We called him up.
He was here. You called him up.
We called him up. He was very gracious. He said, "Thank you very much. I'm starting a movie on Monday, so it can't happen, but thank you for asking," which was amazing.
Well, he was here, and he told us he patterned every character he's ever played after House.
Oh, right. That's splendid. If only that were true.
So you were doing a remake of Flight of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
First of all, the original was a great film.
It was a great film.
Yes, and it had Richard Attenborough in it, and a lot of great people. And you get this call to do an audition tape.